In this video, we're going to be talking about the properties of absolute values and solving absolute value equations. So as a quick overview, let's quickly talk about the properties of absolute values. So here, we're going to let a and b be real numbers, and we're able to say these following properties. That the absolute value of a is going to be greater than or equal to 0, meaning our answer will always be positive or 0. That if we have a negative absolute value of a, that's going to be the exact same answer as the absolute value of a. That if we have the absolute value of two things multiplied together, we can separate those things and they can be their own absolute values being multiplied to each other on the outsides. And then if we have an absolute value of a number divided by another number, we can split those numbers so they have the absolute value of that number divided by the absolute value of the denominator. Now, when it comes to solving absolute value equations, it's important to remember that c has to be greater than or equal to 0 in order to solve. So it can't be negative. So that means that if our absolute value of ax plus b equals a negative, it can't be done. Now, when we go to solve, you'll notice that what we're going to do is we're going to take that ax plus b and we're going to set it equal to a positive c. Let's look at that a little bit differently. We're going to take the ax plus b's and we're going to set them equal to our positive c value and then to our negative c value. Okay. Now what it's saying right here, when c is less than 0 from the original problem, that's where we have this no solution, right? We have no solution because it cannot equal a negative number. And that's what we were talking about right up here. Okay. So let's go ahead and let's practice solving some absolute value equations so we can see what we need to do. And I'm going to kind of talk you through a little shortcut that I use. Not really a shortcut. It's more of like a memory cue. I like to remember things as stories sometimes. So I like to think of these absolute value bars right here kind of like a sanctuary from zombies, right? And so as long as there are numbers around it, so for example, like if I had the absolute value of x minus 4 plus 3 equals 6, then this 6, that 3 right there would represent like a zombie, right? So what we're looking at is when, in this example A, this absolute value of x minus 4 equals 6, we see that there are no zombies anywhere near our barricades or where we're at. And so some of the people inside, and the people inside are x minus 4, they're like, yeah, let's go out. The zombies are gone. They're all gone. Let's go out. So some of them want to go out, right? So x minus 4 equals 6. And they think that everything is well and good. But then there are other people inside. Let me just change these colors really fast. There we go. But there are other people inside. Remember, those are still the people inside who think that everything is not okay outside. That it's fake. It's a false sense of security there. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to solve. And we're going to solve for x. So we're going to add 4 to both sides, and we get the x equals 10. Over here, we're going to add 4 to both sides, and we're going to get that x equals a negative 2. And so here we have our two answers. That x equals 10 and x equals negative 2. So let's try our next example. Here we have the absolute value of 3x plus 1. So we can see that we've got our zombie gates up, right? Our protection, our sanctuary, if you will. And oops, what we want to do is we want to look over, take a look outside the equal sign. And here we have a negative 5, which means that the world is still a mess. There are still zombies out there. And we can't do anything about it because they're on the other side of the equal sign. Notice that there's that negative, which we talked about. You can't have that. So here we're going to have no solution. Because a negative number can never, not a negative number, but the absolute value can never equal a negative number. So here again we have no solution. Let's take a look at example C. So here we see our absolute value symbols right there. We'll take a look on the other side of our equal sign and we see a positive number, so we're good to go. And again, remember there are people inside who think that everything is well and good, but there are also people inside who think that it's really just a lie. And x is already by itself here, which means that these are going to be our two answers. X equals 10 and x equals negative 10. Let's take a look at one more example. So here we have the absolute value of x minus 1 equals 4. We see that the absolute value is by itself. There's nothing on the outside of it. And then if we look across the equal sign, we see a 4, and it's a positive number, so we know we can do this problem. So again, some of the people inside think that everything is fine, but some of the people inside think that it's still a mess and there's zombies outside, leaving us with that negative 4. Then we're going to add 1 to both sides over here and get our x by itself. We're going to add 1 to both sides here, get our x by itself, and we have our 2 solution. So here we see that x equals 5 and x equals negative 3, and we're finished.